So how did that switch? If you're 5 years into this, like what did you actually do to shift, change your mentality? What actions did you take?
Yeah.
Like what shifted?
I ended up selling that company, and I became vice president of an ad agency that had been a client of mine. And I started realizing I could sell at higher prices.
Yeah.
But because I'm very other oriented.
Yeah.
And I didn't put this together till a couple of decades later. The reason I was able to sell the agency's services to like big multinational corporations is because I was selling someone else's services.
100%. Like I can
instead of me saying, "Oh, I'm the greatest. I'm 100%. Amazing."
I can sell Bob more than I can sell me.
Exactly.
I mean, it's so easy. I can't sell me, but I can sell Flo. I can sell you. I can sell somebody else, but not myself. It's so great. It's so important.
That was my downfall. And so over
How'd
the
you
course,
shift that?
well, over the course of the next 10 years or so, in various corporate positions, director of advertising for National Mortgage Banker, director of marketing for an HMO, all the way up, and finally I was head of corporate communications for an international investment banking firm.
Wow.
And that's when 9/11 hit.
Oh wow.
And international investment banking went in the toilet.
Collapsed.
I mean, just right. So 10 days later, there was no business. They cut half the company. I was on the street. And I said, what am I going to do? And I thought, whatever company I've been in,
so this is right after 2001, 9/11, 2001.
2001.
So you're talking January 2002 is when like literally you had to recreate everything.
Yeah. So I thought, what would I love to do? Because I saw this, I was walking through a bookstore, Barnes & Noble over at Bellaterra in Huntington Beach.
Right down the road here.
And I'm looking at the business and self-help section, and there's a book, and I see the spine of this book. It says, "Do what you love, the money will follow."
Yeah.
And I went, whoa! I've still got that book on my shelf. I've never read it because it may say something other than how I took it. So I thought, what would I feel guilty getting paid for? I'm always the guy that's been pushed up in front of board meetings or shareholder meetings to speak.
Wow.
And I thought, I wonder if anybody would pay to hear me talk. And you know what? They would.
What was your talks you started doing?
Well, I started speaking on sales, negotiation, persuasion, and then within 3 or 4 years, and I was told this, that as a speaker, typically it'll take maybe about 5 years before you really find what your niche is. And I noticed audiences started gravitating to where I would teach how to charge higher prices and get your customers to thank you for it. I started teaching techniques on that.
Wow.
And they went, dude, that is niche. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing this.
Yeah.
So what I always tell people, I mean, I've identified more than 80 different techniques, tactics for getting customers to pay more than they thought they were going to pay, but still be happy they did so.
That's awesome.
And one of the techniques, it sounds basic, but most people don't do it. One of the techniques is niche down and price up. Niche down and price up. And as soon as I went from being a sales trainer, and there's one under every bush, right? I mean, you make 500, $1,000, maybe $5,000 or whatever. And I became Mr. Charge Higher Prices. My own price went up because I started using some of my own techniques that I teach, and some techniques are a little more complex, some are more simple, but I'm a product of the product. Everything that I do to charge higher prices myself is what I teach.
You're living.
Yeah.
You're living it.
And I
like
remember
that's
I'm
what
the
I
guy,
love. Like what is like a lot of people talk about things, but when someone's actually living it, it's a totally game changer. Like we had
living
Skylar,
my
buddy,
the floor.
Yeah, like same thing. Skylar was living in a mobile home earlier when one of the earlier episodes. And he's super successful now. He's like 32 years old, one of the most successful in marriage, kids, business. You're talking about church, he goes to Mariners. Like the guy, I mean, like around the spectrum, he lives it more than anybody I know. And that's one of the things I try to pull out of people here is like, what are you doing? How do I pull it out of you? And how do we give it to the audience? How do we take what you're doing and put it out here into the outside world so they can see it, they can feel, they can imagine these techniques, these steps, what you're doing.